Reservation. Let's go to Mr. Javed Ansari, who's a senior journalist and author. Sir, there's always been a pecking order even when it comes to internal party democracy. So there's been a lot of opposition to the Women's Reservation Bill in the last 12 years. How do you see this move? Do you see this coming through? What is the opposition going to think?
Look, it would go through. Eventually it will go through. But does it have the wholehearted, unstinted support cutting across parties? It doesn't. The reasons that stymied the passage of the bill earlier continue. Most males cutting across party lines do not want this to happen because they feel threatened. Nobody knows whose seat will be reserved, and whoever seat is reserved for women, that person will have to give up that seat. Nobody wants to give up power. Nobody wants to cede control to the other person. So there will, look, there are some parties who have publicly stated that they are not in favor. The SP, the RJD, the JDU, and perhaps the DMK. However, even within the BJP there was a lot of reservations. Within the Congress, there's a lot of reservations primarily coming from the male members. But I do believe now that given the atmospherics, the time, I do believe that this bill will see light of day. There will be a lot of heartburn, but eventually it will see light of day. Now that the ruling party has put shoulder behind the wheel, it will. The last time it was while the SP, RJD, JDU publicly opposed it, there was a lot of subtle opposition from BJP benches.
Right.
The government didn't have the requisite numbers. The government needed to marshal out some MPs because they were physically creating a hurdle in the passage of the bill. They needed the support of the BJP, and the BJP said no, we will not allow marshals to be used. So there have been problems in the past. There could possibly be problems even now, but eventually it will see light of day. This is an idea whose time has certainly come.
Sajjan, tell us that the Mandal parties vocally had opposed the bill, and one of the most stunning sort of opposition was the class aspect of it. You know, we all remember Sharad Yadav saying that, short-haired women cannot represent women of Bharat. So tell us how does that criticism work? How will we be able to address that? With quota within quota, rotational basis. Do you think these are certain ways by which the bill could be made more representative?
No, this is one of the demand, but that can be desirable. That should not be made a precondition for. We have to differentiate about the quota requirement, say in a government job or in a university and educational institution, and in political elections or constituency. There is no compulsion on part of any party, be it BJP or national party or a regional party, not to reserve, the seats. For example, say Manpuri, Etawah. Now, primarily people know that it's the Yadavs who are going to win. So whether you reserve it or you do not reserve it, it is an OBC seat that is going to win. So that is why to try to equate, political reservation at par with the educational and institutional reservation is not a right move. That shows that there are parties who want to scuttle it. And we have seen the kind of opposition in 1998 when one of the RJD MP, Surendra Yadav, he tore the bill, and that's why all sort of ugly remarks have been there. Because no one can prevent the subaltern communities. So if majority of the OBCs are already the MPs and MLAs, what prevents those parties not to field women from their community? So these are not a matter of conviction. These are more a matter of tacticality to delay it. And right now we are witnessing that one of the bill would be remembered as historic on parts of the optics that you see. In terms of the substance, that it is the politics of inclusion and representation, which is substantive. Then in terms of the optics, a new parliament and gender representation. And third, first time we are witnessing, and as was articulated, that compared to the past, there is a tectonic shift wherein across the party line, not only there is no opposition, but when the government has brought in the bill, there is a competition to take credit, and all the parties seems to be in sync. So I think that question of quota within quota doesn't sound a matter of conviction, because it would be the demographic majority of the OBC anyway. So if you can field your male, what prevents you, from fielding the female also? Yeah. We
also have Ranjana Kumari, Director, Center for Social Research, and Lalitha Kumaramangalam, who is the former chief of NCW with us. Lalitha ma'am, let me come to you first. How do you see this move by the cabinet to clear the Women's Reservation Bill? Will the women of India finally find their rightful place in India's parliamentary democracy?
I think across the board, all women are extremely happy. Prime Minister Modi has been clever enough to bring the bill when he knows that he'll be able to push it through. I'm not trying to decry any other party that has tried in the past, but they made a mistake there. Their opposition, their alliance partners, as you know, scuttled the bill, as has already been said. The fact is that Modi ji knows very well now that the bill will go through. There will be lots of people wanting to take credit, not credit. All of that doesn't bother women like me and like Ranjana ji. The fact is that finally, after more than 75 years of independence, women have finally been given a chance to come into parliament, to come into both houses of parliament and remember the legislative assemblies, and to prove that we can and will make a difference. We've never been given that choice. It's always been, Parkati Mahila, something or the other would have always been said to pull us back. And what Javed ji said is quite right, that men across the parties don't want this bill to come because they feel that their superiority or their control is going to be threatened. It's all about that. But to give credit to Prime Minister Modi and his team, they have done this very quietly, and they've been working. There must have been a lot of work that's gone behind this also. It's not just a spur of the moment decision that was made. It's a very considered and a very timely decision. And as has already been made very clear, I think they will push it through in such a way that maybe it will be even implemented before the 2024 elections, which means that in the next parliament, instead of 14% in Rajya Sabha and 15% in Lok Sabha, we'll have 33% at least in the Lok Sabha immediately. And we all thank the government for doing it. And as also has been pointed out by our young friend Sajjan Kumar, that all parties, no party can really now afford to say that we are standing against it. And also this whole thing about reservation in reservation, parties are not stupid. They know what particular caste or community will win in a particular seat. I'm sure, as he said it very bluntly, if you can find a man to stand in the seat, you should be able to find a woman also who will very happily stand in the seat. But parties who have been against traditionally the women's reservation bill must be genuine in their desire to see, not only give a woman who has the capacity, but also the support of the party to win the bill. There are many ways to make people lose in politics. I only hope that parties who have traditionally not supported this bill don't find some of these ulta-pulta, as we say, the crooked ways of making sure that women don't win from those seats just to prove a point. That viciousness and that pettiness, I hope they get over, regardless of the party.
Right. Ranjana ji, women voters have increased substantially in the last few years, and the gender gap has almost sort of reduced. But when it comes to politics, there are also challenges like criminalization of politics and resources. How do you think women need to be equipped, even if this bill comes about and is implemented? What are the other things that women need to sort of make a mark in politics?
I think from the day we started this whole thing, or when Pramila Danwate had presented the private member bill in the parliament, from where the whole debate started, and then the committee was constituted, Geeta Mukherjee was the chair of the committee, and of course they went across the whole country, around the country, to get the opinion, and finally the bill was drafted. And also the bill has seen every stage through, even before, that is getting passed by Cabinet Committee, being presented, getting passed by Rajya Sabha. So I think it is just the opposition of the male members of the parliament who fear losing their own seat, that this could never be, and they are in every party, let me tell you. So that's the reason why this bill could not be presented and passed after it was passed in 2010 in Rajya Sabha. The other thing is that, the whole ecosystem, the whole politics in the country has changed as far as women are concerned. Women are voting more in numbers. Women have voted more in numbers in Bihar to make Nitish Kumar win that election. Women have voted more in number for BJP in this, the last election where BJP won. So women voters are voting more than men. And also because of Panchayati Raj representation of women, in every state 50%, we have a huge number of, all across the country, number of women who are politically very highly mobilized. And they are the women who are really making their own decision. There is nothing like, Pati deciding or Beta deciding who they should vote. They go and vote for the person or the party they like to vote. So these are the changes which are going to affect this whole thing. And now let me finally say that, I remember just a very 1 minute, I want to bring historical background because Lalita ji is also sitting here. When Mohini Giri was the chairperson, I was, asked by the whole of the country's women's groups to contest one seat in Delhi. And the same, and Advani ji was contesting that seat that I was asked to contest by the women's movement, and Mahila Ayog had proposed that. But do you know what happened? It was this BJP which really refused and also did not accommodate one single woman in whole country. And today, look how situation has changed. Situation to the extent that BJP has not only proposed, BJP is standing behind the bill. They have a majority in the parliament, and they will be able to pass this bill. So, this kind of a transformation once in history happens, and I'm sure Indian women, need justice, they demand justice, and credit goes to women because, we have fought, we have done every possible thing. 7-8 times I personally have been in police station arrested. So I think, and also, we lie down on the street, we wore black saris and went there. We went in a whole train journey from Delhi to Kanyakumari and back to Delhi asking for the bill. We have been every year, doing some or the other form of protest. And when I'm saying we, all women's organizations. So, this is something which is long pending. This is a justice which should be delivered. Lalita ji, we also remember when she was the chairperson, we mobilized, we protested. Every which way we have been, asking for it. I feel that Prime Minister Modi has decided, looks like it's a very, very positive, very, very assertive way that this has been brought about. And also just recent thing, G20, we said women-led development. What does that mean? I mean, we have to, really prove that women are in governance. If they are not in leadership, who's leading this development? And we have, in spite of lots of opposition from other countries, we included this language, women-led development, So I think this has to be somehow told to the world. And finally, India is going to give this leadership. I am here to speak in UNGA. Actually, I am speaking to you from New York. And in this year, United Nations General Assembly, only 22% women globally have moved in terms of leadership. So India can take the lead. India can show the way to the world that, look, we are giving it. So every other country should come forward.
Yes. Absolutely.